All right, I'm going to call this town council meeting for March 9th, 2021 to order at 7 p.m. If everybody could please stand for the pledge and for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty,
with
and
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, that gets us to number 4, proclamations and presentations. We have quite a few tonight here. A couple we had talked about previously, so we just have the language to review and approve. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 new ones that are on there. But before we get started with that, Mike, I wanted to ask you or suggest perhaps for some of these, especially ones that are the presidential proclamations, which we've already talked about, if there was a way that we could find the standard language from the presidential proclamations, that way we can make it easier for you and the staff to, rather than sitting around and waiting for us and trying to figure out what it should, could, or should, might, etc. say.
So hi, everybody. Mike Rosen, town manager. I think we're all still figuring out this proclamation procedure. It's still relatively new. Back in June 2020 was when we really set the process for this. As you can see, on tonight's agenda, we do have 6 overall proclamations, 2 for recognition that are ready, that have been voted on by the council, and then 4 of them are new to tonight's agenda. I guess any tweaks at this point to the process would be appreciated.
Yeah.
That may help us streamline this in some way. At the moment, though, I mean, we're not operating yet because we haven't made any changes to the process about if council wishes, if there's a proclamation request that follows a presidential proclamation, that we just go to wherever webpage. I don't know if there's a single webpage out there that has all presidential proclamations, but if there is, we could utilize that wording. Otherwise, what we have been doing is when residents or other interested people, stakeholders write in, they have draft language or proposed language. It's kind of become a bit of what myself and Lynn in my office have been trying to work on, taking a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one, cobbling it together. So any help would be appreciated out there. If there's a standard way to streamline this, I'm all ears.
I agree. I think we're going to have to talk about it because, you're seeing a lot more proclamations now. So we should probably try to make it a more, like, for instance, like we said, we're doing Black History Month and it's March because, we have to do better of making sure people know if they want something that it's far enough ahead of time that we can actually do that. So I think this is something that we're going to have to talk about. So with that said, we have 2 tonight that have language. We have the proclamation recognizing February as Black History Month and the proclamation for Robert Noonan.
Yes. I would like to share my screen so that everybody can see. Yeah, let's do it that way. If everyone can see that, we do have the first proclamation is for Black History Month, which is February. Unfortunately, it is March, but this was because of our process that we just discussed. It took 2 to 3 meetings to get this finalized. So tonight we are showing you what hopefully is the final draft.
So you want me to read it? Everybody can look at it. I think that's probably the easiest way.
Yeah, so, this is the full thing on the screen.
This is the one, right? This is the finalized version that you guys put together. So I get rid of all the whereases because it just gets repetitive. So whereas the town of Tolland celebrates the cultural, spiritual, economic, and political contributions made by the Black community to the town, state, nation, and world, and the nation was founded upon and is guided by a set of principles that include every person has been created equal, and that each has their rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and that each shall be accorded to the fullest protection of the law, and acknowledges the challenges, injustices, and oppression faced by Black citizens in this community, state, nation, and world, that we must actively work to eliminate these challenges, injustices, and oppressions. And it was through surviving inhumane conditions, discrimination, struggle, centuries of struggles, and prolonged hardship rooted in slavery, which serves as a blight on our nation's great history, that Black citizens have overcome and claimed these rights so long overdue. And in 1976, President Gerald Ford first recognized the entire month of February as Black History Month, an occasion to rediscover the enduring stories of Black Americans, their struggles through slavery and prejudice, their perseverance in battles for freedom and equality, and the gifts of freedom, purpose, and opportunity that have been bestowed on future generations. And Black History Month is a time to commemorate the incredible cultural, scientific, political, and economic contributions of Black Americans, whose examples of heroism, patriotism, and enterprise have given people of all backgrounds confidence, courage, and faith to pursue their own dreams. And we as a community must face and learn from the past injustices of slavery and prejudice, build on the past, and support and protect the rights of the Black American community, and in doing so, work together to build a better and more prosperous future for all town residents. Now, therefore, I, Tammy Nuccio, Chair of the Tolland Town Council, on behalf of the Town Council and community at large, am proud to honor and celebrate the contributions of Black individuals, families, and businesses past, present, and future, and welcome Black residents to the town and proclaim February 2021 as Black History Month, as dated on March 9th. So, hold on, I have to make my screen smaller because I can't see everybody. There. Lou.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In reviewing the proclamation as presented by Mr. Rosen, that although not exactly the same language as the past several presidential proclamations have been, this is essentially the same language that has been used over the past, basically 10 years for this type of proclamation. So I think it's something that would be consistent with what Mr. Rosen was saying. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Sorry, my dog started to bark there. Does anybody else have any other questions on the language? If not, I think we should, what Mike, I think at this point we vote to accept it, correct?
Well, actually, I was going to say, we actually do, you had given, the only vote that's taken that I understand is when it's approved to be drafted. For,
okay.
Whatever reason, part of our process is not necessarily to vote on the final language. Again, this could and should be cleaned up maybe after budget season. Maybe we can work on a follow-up process or policy or something. But yes, we haven't voted on this in the past.
Okay. All right. So then I think nobody else has any other questions on the language on that one. So I think we're good. Do you want to go to the second one for Mr. Noonan?
Okay, looks like I can get the whole thing on the screen.
You can. Now I got to get a little closer because I made it smaller. All right. Whereas in the month of December 2020, the town lost a remarkable man who was known for his dedication to his family, his educational profession, his community, and his friends. Robert Noonan, who passed away at the age of 95, was part of the greatest generation. Excuse me. Sorry. Shortly after graduating high school in 1943, he courageously joined the war effort, serving in the Navy as a minesweeper in the Pacific and at the Battle of Okinawa. And upon returning home, Robert Noonan married the love of his life, Rosemary Lynch. They're such a sweet couple. And together they shared 69 years of marriage and had 8 children, 14 grandchildren, and 12 great-grandchildren. His family remembers him as an extraordinary husband, father, and grandfather. Robert Noonan became a teacher, devoting almost 30 years in the Ellington school system. As a guidance counselor in Ellington High School, he established one of the first work-study programs in Connecticut, the Cooperative Work Experience Program, a program later replicated throughout the state. In recognition of Robert's contribution to his profession, the Rockville Area Chamber of Commerce created the Robert Noonan Vocational Scholarship Award Program. His love of education continued throughout the lifetime as he continued to take classes at UConn after retirement, and Robert Noonan could often be found at the Tolland Public Library, where he was an active patron at the Senior Center, shooting a good game of pool, sharing an infectious smile, his wisdom and sense of humor. And Robert Noonan also possessed a strong call to public service. And throughout the years, he served on numerous boards and civic organizations in Tolland, including the Board of Selectmen, Board of Education, Democratic Town Committee, president of the Tolland Little League, and president of the Tolland Historical Society. He also volunteered countless hours through the community and always performed those duties with a contagious smile. Robert Noonan was a man who loved his family and his community. He is a man who will be forever missed and remembered with love by those whose lives he has touched. Now, therefore, I, Tammy Nuccio, Chair of the Tolland Town Council, on behalf of the Town Council and the community at large, am proud to honor and celebrate the life of this longtime resident, Robert Noonan.
And just wanted to let the council know too, that I've been in discussion with Bev Bellady, Human Services Director, who herself and many of her staff members knew Mr. Noonan, and they would like to deliver a framed copy of this to his family.
Yes, we talked about that when I was down there. I think that would be very appropriate. Does anybody have any questions or any issues with the language in this proclamation? Okay, not seeing any, then thank you very much, Mike. So that gets us to the next is recognizing proclamation recognizing March as Disability Awareness Month.
Yes, this was, well, we don't normally say who requests these necessarily,
Yeah,
but it came from an interested stakeholder in the community that wanted to recognize March as Disability Awareness Month. And traditionally, again, according to our process, this is not a proclamation we've ever had before in town, but not to say that we can't start a new tradition today. So I'm just looking for council to give me the permission to draft some language for this.
Okay, so on the docket right now is do we all approve the request for recognizing March as Disability Awareness Month? Steve, do you want to make a motion on that?
Yeah, Steve Jones, I'd make a motion that we authorize Town Manager Rosen to draft a proclamation recognizing March as Disability Awareness Month.
This is Brenda Felucci. I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Brenda?
Aye.
Cassandra?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Lou?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
I am an aye, so that's unanimous. So Mike, you're good on that one. The next one is a proclamation request to members of the Tolland Resident State Troopers Office and Connecticut Troopers Troop C regarding attempted burglaries on the February 20th, 2021 date on the Tolland Green.
Yes, Councilor. So the next two proclamations both pertain to an event that happened in late February, had made news, and I had informed you all as it was happening. And thanks to the good work of both the people mentioned in 4.4, which is the Trooper's Office, as well as 4.5, the resident who got involved. This is, again, sort of not necessarily what we've done in the past. Traditionally, I should say, but that being said, we did have a proclamation for an act of heroism a few months ago for a different gentleman. So there is a bit of a track record for acts of heroism receiving proclamations. So this is just for your consideration tonight. If you would like to honor, we can do them one by one, but if you'd like to honor the troop for their, the resident state troopers plus the Troop C barracks for their getting involved and preventing attempted burglaries on February 20th on the Green.
So is there any objection to doing them together from the counselors? Not seeing any. Lou, you have a question?
Yes, with regard to the proclamation for the resident state troopers and Troop C, is this also something that I know that the Tolland Fire Department was also assisting in the in those efforts and assisted Troop C as well as the resident state troopers? Is that something that we can include them under as part of that proclamation as well? So it'd be basically all three organizations being recognized.
I can certainly edit the request if that's what council would like.
I would support that, and I would recommend that so that we have all three of the public safety units recognized. Thank you.
Okay, does anybody object to that modification? Oh, Steve.
I was going to say I had no objection to making a motion that would amend it once we get to that point. And I was going to ask to clarify, are we going to do 4.4 and 4.5 as a single motion, or are we doing each individually?
Should probably do them separately.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, no,
Okay,
I'm all set then.
anybody else have any other questions? No? All right, Steve?
All right, Steve Jones, I would make a motion that we authorize Town Manager Rosen to move forward with a proclamation request to members of the Tolland Resident State Trooper's Office, Connecticut State Troopers, Troop C, and Tolland Public Safety regarding attempted burglaries on February 20th, 2021 on the Tolland Green.
All right, second,
Lulu, I'll second.
any discussion? All those in favor? Brenda?
Aye.
Cassandra?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Lou?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
I'm an aye, so that one's unanimous. Next. We're rolling right around. I feel like the Muppets were good.
So the next one pertains to the same incident, but in this case, it's the resident who had an act of valor to contain the suspects from fleeing successfully. So this request again is for the resident, and it was, for this one, actually, I do have some draft language that they had presented to in the email about this. But if you'd like me, I can, tailor that a bit. That I already have that language or whatever.
All right, that's good. So you already have the language on that one.
Right.
Steve?
If you authorize me to go ahead, I already have it basically drafted, is what I'm saying.
Oh, good. Okay.
Sounds good. Steve Jones, I would make a motion that we authorize the Town Manager to move forward with a proclamation request for a resident regarding attempted burglaries on February 20th, 2021 on the Tolland Green.
It's Kurt Schenner. I'll second that motion.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Brenda?
Aye.
Cassandra?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Lou?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
I am an aye, so that is unanimous. That gets us to 4.6, proclamation for Law Enforcement Memorial Day, May 15th. So this one is good because we've got plenty of
Yeah.
time to get it in before May.
Yes, thank you. This request had come in, and like you said, it gives us almost 2 full months to get this together, rather than just the 30 to 45 days that we've been normally operating off of. But I guess I understand that May 15th is somewhat recognized as Law Enforcement Officer Memorial Day. I don't know if it's federally or where it's recognized, but I Googled it and I see that it does have hits out there. So this would be the first time that Tolland has recognized May 15th as Law Enforcement Memorial Day, but other communities, or not communities, but other entities out there, the state, the feds, they have this date already on their calendars.
Okay. Any discussion from anybody? I lost Steve. Where did Steve go? Am I think I need to pin everybody. Everybody keeps getting moved around.
I think he actually dropped off the meeting. It looks like I don't see him in the.
Did he get booted?
Well, I didn't boot him.
Mike, I didn't boot him. Oh, he lost internet. He just texted me. He lost internet. He'll be right back. Okay. So I will entertain a motion then to have Mike draft up the language for the item 4.6 proclamation request for law enforcement officer recognizing Law Enforcement Memorial Day on May 15th. Anybody want to
Brenda
make that?
Felicity, so moved.
Lulu, I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Brenda?
Aye.
Cassandra?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Lou?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
I am an aye, so that is unanimous. Sure Steve will jump back on when he can. All right, that gets us to item number 5. He said, go on. Yeah, all right, he's coming back on. He's not here yet, but he is in the process of it. He said it was fine to go ahead on without him. That gets us to item 5 on our agenda, which is public participations, communications, and public petitions, communications, and public participation. Any subject of the town council with a 2-minute limit. If you are on a device, if you want to raise your hand, I will answer in the order that you raise your hand on. When I call on you, please state your name and address for the record. If you're on a phone, it is *9. That does the same thing. Here comes Steve. And at that time, you would state your name and address also for the record. Okay, Sophia Johnson.
Hello, my name is Sophia Johnson and I reside at 48 Crystal Lake Road. I've been, my family and I, we're 6. We're new to Tolland as of February 2nd. And we've been actually stalking the community since June 2020 when we went into contract. So I don't know who the homeowner is here previous to us, but they were amazing. And through losing jobs and having to put the house back on the market, they had faith that the house belonged to us. So they took the long haul. So that speaks to the character of an individual that, lived in Tolland and did an amazing thing by, waiting for my family and I to get our ducks in a row in order to purchase this home. And now we're living in our dream home and we're basically living the dream. We love Tolland. We used to come to Tolland from Farmington to go to Big Y, passing many places because the hospitality and the treatment and the service and the dedication was just amazing. Going into different shops and meeting new people and talking to them. I'm a very engaging person. When I go around, people are sometimes alarmed because I'm a little too friendly. I speak and I say hi. I say, oh my gosh, your hair looks great. Where did you get that jacket? And most people assume what they assume about people in general, but I don't assume anything. So I don't take a limit to not say something to someone. And sometimes that small engagement helps me to, learn more about myself and who I'm willing to, hide from. With that being said, this is my first town council meeting. The first meeting that I attended was the Conservation Commission. To support my neighbor with doing geocaching. I will be speaking to the board with regard to that again later. But it's a great, it's a great thing to be able to get out into the community now that things are warming up and start looking for these geocaches to, celebrate being able to do an outdoor activity with your family. With that being said, looking at the agenda tonight, I saw something with regard to the town and racism. And I must say, personally, I haven't experienced anything like that. And I'm a little concerned because, and I did send a letter to the board that I would appreciate if it could be read into record, because I really want to take this, one-on-one FaceTime to be able to say other positive things and not focus on that. So if the letter can be read into the record when the agenda item comes up, I'd appreciate it. But so far, thank you for being an amazing community. Thank you for taking care of the roads. Thank you for Eversource being able to come out real quick and turn the lights back on when we lost power. Thank you to my next door neighbor for not waiting too long and asking me if I would participate and support her with geocaching through the Conservation Commission. So thank you for being a welcoming, engaging, wonderful community that we now call home. And I look forward to participating in anything and everything that I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. Welcome to Tolland as, one long-term resident. I've been here for 36 years now almost, but, so I happen to love the town too. I think it's great. You're actually right down the road from me. So we'll have to catch up at some point, but thank you very much and welcome to Tolland.
Thank you. Please do. 48 Crystal Lake. I've heard that this home is beloved by many people, that, we have the amazing view in my background.
It is a great view. Crystal Lake has some great views, but thank you very much and welcome to town.
Thank you.
Gary.
Thank you. Hey, newcomer, Tammy Nuccio, 36 years. I've been here 51. And just
you got me by what? How many more?
So nice to hear what you just said, Sophia. I'm actually reading something, a thank you that I'm really proud of Tolland, but I've been here since I was 5. I really wanted to thank the town council for creating that statement against systemic racism, because growing up in Tolland and going to Tolland schools and all, it was really a monolithic experience. I didn't really know people who were very different from me at all. So I thought everybody had the same experiences and the same thoughts and had the same kind of lives that I had wherever they were. And even going to college was opened my eyes a little bit more, but I didn't experience true diversity of thought, experiences, and of people until I started working in Harvard Public Schools years ago. And then I realized that other people, in this case, people of color, many have very vastly different experiences than I had growing up in a virtually all white community. So I'm just really proud of Tolland for acknowledging what it took me years to discover and begin to understand, that systemic racism does exist. And I don't mean the overt racist acts, because I didn't see a lot of that where I was, but regarding the system that historically and purposely has disenfranchised people of color. And I really am so proud to be a citizen of Tolland right now, more than some other times. And it's fantastic. Happy with the town council for addressing this to make Tolland a more equitable and safe place for all. So, and I thank the town council for this and for all the hard work you're doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary. But you know, you just gave us all your age. Like,
I did.
Threw it right out there.
You know,
like,
you know
right
what?
there.
Look at this. What do I got left? Wrinkles and
You're
gray.
beautiful. You're beautiful, you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have, I'm sorry, there's Linda, she's raising her hand physically. I will get to you after I get to the next person. I'm assuming you can't find your raise hand function. So I will get to you right after I get to, I don't know when you did, and you're on mute, hon, you're on mute. So let's see. You work on getting yourself off mute, and once Annalise is done, I'll come back to you, okay? All right, Annalise.
Hi.
Hi, sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Difficulties here.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring up before we discuss later on in the meeting more about the statement that we've written against racism. I just wanted to ask again. I've emailed the council to kind of hear some responses. I've heard back from Brenda Faluzzi on this, but nobody else. So I am still. I'm not comfortable with the fact that the council is not willing to use the term anti-racist in the statement. I think that that is a very important term to be using in a statement against racism. I think that you know, until we can do that, I just don't know how. I don't want to say comfortable, but you know, any statement is something. But I think that in itself, because what I heard from our last meeting was that we wanted it to be measurable, and I'm assuming actionable, right? And that's what anti-racism is, right? So the definition of anti-racism is the policy or practice of opposing racism and promoting racial tolerance. So it refers to a form of action against racial hatred, bias, systemic racism, and the oppression of marginalized groups. It's structured around conscious efforts and deliberate actions to provide equitable opportunities for all people on an individual and systemic level. So this term is, it's critical to be put into here. And so I would really love to hear answers when we get to this later on in the meeting from each council member of why they're not for this. I think that's all. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Annalise. Linda, I see you are off mute. You good?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go right ahead.
Thank you. So I emailed something to the council, but it was late today by the time I got it off. So this is in reference to the proclamation on racism. May I read my message? And I just caveat, I didn't time it, so I'm not sure. I'll try to read quickly.
You've got 2 minutes, ma'am. You can do with it as you will. Okay.
My name is Linda Calabrese. I have lived on Tolland Green for 20 years, and I am a retired tax collector for the town of Tolland. This council is poised to vote on a proclamation declaring racism as a public health emergency. We all know that a proclamation alone is not a solution. Steps must be taken to foster conversations, explore programs, seek solutions. But we should go on record by all means and then set the programs in motion and set an example for other towns as well. I would not have guessed myself that there might be a racial problem in Tolland, but then I am white and so is much of the town. I do know a young woman who went to Tolland High School about a decade ago, and she was bullied because she was Black. So do we collectively know what goes on in the neighborhoods or in the schools or on social media? And maybe we should find out. Even if you haven't witnessed issues here, you have to know that there are issues all over the country. And I believe it's important for a town populated essentially by privileged people to make sure that every person feels as comfortable as everyone else. I see that Glastonbury has adopted a similar proclamation. Glastonbury has only 1.7% African American people. Tolland has only 3.4%. And yet Glastonbury, with half of what we have, percentage-wise, has adopted a similar proclamation. The reason that a vast majority of the population hasn't experienced racial problems is because most of us are not of a race that gets looked down on. We are the privileged many, but it's not really about if we perceive a racial problem in Tolland or in Glastonbury. It's about whether there is a racial problem at all. Clearly, there is a problem that must be addressed if we are really going to fulfill the problem that all men are created equal and deliver liberty for justice in all. This proclamation is a fine first step. If we could stand up and say we care about racial equity, access to comfortable housing and good schools and medical services, we are taking a critical first step. Please vote to adopt this proclamation. Recruit actively for people of color to help so that they can provide their insight and credibility. Read the World Health Organization's research on social determinants of health. Really dig in. We can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Kenny Trice.
Good evening, Kenny Trice, 53 Dill Run. First of all, thank you folks for your service. I just have a question. This is a statement and not a proclamation. Am I correct? Because we were getting away from a proclamation. Am I interpreting that incorrectly, or could someone, I'm asking a question.
It's a statement, yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? No. Okay. All right. We are going to move on to, we have no public hearing items tonight. That gets us to 7A, reports of boards and commissions responsible to the council. Brenda, do you have anything today?
Yes, tourism, there's no update. We haven't had a meeting. Sustainable CT had a meeting last week. We decided on moving forward with a number of items. There's no time limit on these or time frame on these right now. The first two is to create a poet laureate and an artist, a Tolland Town artist. We're going to solicit input and create a decision-making body through different segments of the community, like the library, the schools, Tolland Arts, etc., and come up with a process to pick a poet and an artist. We've also decided to create a statement on equity by the community. So we're going to have, again, different segments of the community talk about equity. And equity isn't limited to one part of our community, where it's any group that feels that they need assistance, they need equity in order to be equal among our community. So we'll probably go to the Commission for Residents with Disabilities. We'll take a look and have someone from the mental health and substance use group. We'll talk to the schools. We'll talk to whoever wants to be on this committee to help create an equity statement. I also attended 2 training sessions. Both of them were equity training sessions with highlighting mostly racism, but also where the intersectionality is when it comes to race and other items. So far, that's 8 hours of training for these, and there's one more 3-hour session. Anybody that's on the Sustainable CT committee can attend, and it looks like the town manager is also welcome to attend. They have 2 more sessions happening throughout the year. Again, they're 3-hour sessions with 1 hour of coaching at the end of them. So for a total of 12 hours of equity training. And that seems to be it for them.
Okie dokie. Thank you. That gets us to reports of the town council liaisons. Brenda.
Yes, this is going to be quick and easy. Blight did not meet. Planning and zoning had a meeting last night. The majority of their items were to set public hearings. You'll be excited to know that some of the public hearings have to do with drive-throughs. One of them is for the property with the Dunkin' Donuts. Another is for a gas station that is looking to have a quick serve restaurant. And it is just drive-through. It wouldn't have any seating involved in it. And that's basically all they did last night. So land acquisition did not have a meeting. And just so you guys know ahead of time, tomorrow night's the Board of Ed, but we have a budget meeting. So, and I'm the liaison for March, so I will not be able to attend the Board of Ed meeting, but I will watch it and I'll make a report based on what I've watched and what the minutes are.
Perfect. Thank you. Cassandra?
Yeah, PCC met last week and hold on one second, where did I put my notes? Hold on. Sorry, my whole computer just died on me. Sorry. Okay. So they were discussing mostly the Memorial Day parade, and they're waiting on information from Governor Lamont. Wow, can't even speak tonight. Governor Lamont, and because they would like to have an in-person live Memorial Day parade, and if that's not possible, they're discussing what we can do. As if anyone remembers, last year they encouraged people to put a Memorial Day display out by their house. I participated in white crosses with red and blue and white poppies. So I got all creative. That was like artistic for me. But anyway, but that was a nice thing that brought the community together. But the goal is to try to have that again. We talked about the scarecrow contest, holiday tree lighting, setting the dates for those, and working out the details with the hopes of those again being in-person events. Well, the scarecrow contest is going to happen like it was last year. That was a really great event. Brought the community together. Those scarecrows that were made were amazing. I love the crayon one the best. I think that was one of the daycares in town. And then that's basically it. So we're talking about some really great events that are coming up in our community and how to bring people into them.
Thank you. Mike, I think it's probably worth noting that with the governor's, if we see any more loosening of the restrictions, we may be able to do our event on the green there with the food trucks. So something to hope for.
You mean for October?
October, yeah, the fall time. We got a ways to go. We're not gonna get our hopes up yet, but it'd be nice. Steve.
Yeah, Steve Jones. So on the 25th, the Conservation Commission met, and as Sophia mentioned, there was actually a very good discussion on geocaching and that activity on the trails. I kind of actually jumped on board and paid for a membership to start exploring the trails. Since working from home, I have more access to them, and it's definitely a great activity to do as it gets warmer. So I definitely encourage that. They are working on a draft final approval letter to the town manager to have sent out to neighbors of conservation areas. They discussed a little bit about the Fieldstone Ridge development proposal, some updates on forest management and other conservation areas. And then there is a meeting this Thursday that I'll be unable to make because we have a budget meeting. In addition, the WANET subcommittee met, I believe, last Monday, and they are going to submit a draft sort of phase 1 plan for the driveway, parking lot, and what'll be sort of a observation area for stargazing, as well as a labyrinth for that first stage of the project. Additionally, there was one other meeting I think that was held sorry, I'm just jumping from, oh, the Library Foundation met last night. They had really good financial reports. They are up, I believe, 22% from the last year in terms of their investments. They're working on in April, it is Library Week, and National Library Workers Day is Tuesday, April 6th. So they're planning a whole series of events and areas where the public as well as the foundation can recognize the library staff for everything they've done and how they've kind of persevered through the pandemic. So that about summarizes that, and I should be all set.
Thank you. John?
WPCA did not meet. They'll meet next week. So at the following meeting, I will have a report, but nothing today.
Perfect, thank you. Lou?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Birch Grove Building Committee met on March 2nd. That we went through the budget. That the good news is that we are still on budget, knock on wood, and that we are on time, which is again, knock on wood. That some of the issues that we did cover is that now that the unsuitable soil issues has been resolved and that the state has granted the funding for that, it passed through, that we were able to put that money that was set aside, the 1.8 million that was set aside as a contingency in case we did need to pay for the unsuitable soils. That was returned back into the budget, which we will be addressing some of the issues on that next meeting. We also did approve several change orders, which included installation of a kiln within the school, an approval, and that was for $9,000, an approval for the stage curtains and other items affecting the partition between the lunch area and the stage. That was for $65,000, and that there was additional discussion regarding the landscaping and patio area that we are still examining. That the best news is, though, is that everything, as I said, that we are on track, and that we will be examining the technology and other issues within the next several weeks to see about finalizing that so that we can have pretty much everything set to go forward for August. That's all I have. Thank you.
Glad to hear it. Oh, that's great. Kurt?
All right, thank you very much. So unfortunately, I was unable to make last night's Park and Recreation meeting, so I'm going to refer you to the minutes on that. Monday before, we had a agricultural commission meeting, very short, about 15 minutes. We waited longer for people to log on than actually have the meeting. And there was a quick update on the tenants at the Campbell Valley Farm. Everyone seems very happy with what they're doing over there and looking forward to them being members of the community for a long time. And then last Wednesday, we had an EDC meeting. This was the one where we had a representative from Advanced CT come and talk about the kind of services they provide, how can they help the EDC, and answer a few questions that was prepared by the group. It's a really great meeting. I thought Mike was there, and it was a really great conversation. So it looks like there'll be a great Advanced CT would be a great resource for this EDC going forward. It looks like there's a really energetic group. Gonna hit the ground running with a bunch of great ideas once all the COVID restrictions are lifted. Looks like we're gonna have a follow-up meeting, goal setting / planning meeting with Advanced CT in April, I believe, once the new planning director gets ingratiated in the town. Hopefully they can hit the ground running with this EDC and do some great things for the town. So that's all I got.
I miss them. I'll maybe try to go to your meeting at some point. Not encroaching on you there, Kurt, but all right. I actually didn't have anything from the last meeting to this meeting, so that gets us through all of that. And that gets us to new business, 8.1, consideration of a resolution authorizing the town manager to enter into a contract with the State Library Association for a historic documents preservation grant full year 2021-2022.
Great. Hi, everybody. Mike Rosen, Town Manager. Thank you. This item is something that we do routinely every year, and I have a little bit of a special guest star. Kathy Pagans here, our interim town clerk, was good to join us this evening, since it's her department that coordinates this and puts it together. I spoke with Kathy earlier today about sort of what this grant goes towards, and in your packets, there's a little bit of information as well. But Kathy, since you're here, do you want to sort of tell the council about what this 5,500 pays for?
Sure. It
Hi,
goes
Kathy.
toward, hi, sorry,
Hi.
this is
That's
Kathy
okay.
Pagan. So the grant we apply for every year, and it's only to be used for historic preservation. And we're currently working on a project preserving old maps going back to the 20s and 30s, and some of them in the 40s and the 50s. They're in our vault currently, just taped and glued onto boards. So we've already started this project last year, and we're down to about 297 maps that still need to be preserved. This grant would get us down about 60 more. So it cleans, preserves, puts them in hanging folders, and keeps them safe.
Okay. Mike? Do you have anything else?
Yep. No, I'm sorry. I wasn't. So the only thing I was going to say is that I talked to Kathy earlier, and she said that this round of grant funding probably wouldn't be the final round of grant funding to satisfy and finish off this project. You'll probably need another year or two. So we anticipate coming back to you a year from now and looking for another application for another $5,500 to hopefully finish off this project in the next year or two. So if you can remember next year, we're talking about it right now. That way we don't have to.
I have no
Good
problem
memory.
getting together to give you authorization to
Yes.
go ask for grant money, Mike.
Yeah, but we
ever.
have to do it. We have to do it every year, though. So, so we're happy to do it and put the paperwork in. So tonight's motion is just to authorize me to pursue this grant.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Mike or Kathy? No, all right.
Seeing none, Steve Jones, I make a motion that be it resolved that Mike Rosen, town manager, is empowered to execute and deliver in the name of and behalf of this municipality a contract with the Connecticut State Library for a historic documents preservation grants.
This Brenda
Ooh,
Flutie,
awesome.
a second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor? Brenda?
Aye. Hi, neighbor.
Cassandra? Aye. Steve?
Aye. Aye.
Lou?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
I'm an aye. That's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kathy.
Go
Thank
get money. Okay, 8.2, resolution authorizing an appropriation of $5 million for the firehouse improvement project and the financing of said appropriation by the issuance of general obligation bonds of the town and notes in anticipation of such bonds in an amount not to exceed $5 million or so much as may be necessary after deducting grants therefore, as well as establishing a date for a referendum and setting of a public hearing thereon for March 23rd, 2021. So at this
Great.
point, we're just setting the public hearing, correct, Mike?
That's correct. So thank you, Mike Rosen, town manager. So tonight, this is a very important step in the firehouse project process. If you remember, during some of the budget meetings we've had, there was a secondary timeline about how to get to referendum. And this is pretty much the first step since, well, actually, this is the first step in that direction. So in your packets tonight, I did include some of the background material that you all have seen at previous presentations. Also, so that's in your packets again for you to look at one more time. The main reason that we're having, we have to set the public hearing in 2 weeks, and we've spoken to bond counsel, who is guiding us through the process to get to referendum properly. And it was very clear that we are not doing anything except setting the public hearing tonight. Any conversation or anything should really happen at the public hearing, where the folks in the audience that night can listen to it, think about it, say what they need to say, let council say what they need to say. However, I did want to take the opportunity, though, since Public Safety Director John Lytle / Fire Chief John Lytle / EMD John Lytle and is here tonight, as well as many members of the Tolland Fire Department are in the audience tonight. Thank you all for being here, even for something that's just sort of cursory type of agenda item, but I know you all always come out in record numbers when we have these type of meetings. So thank you for being here. I wanted to take the opportunity first to do two things. One is I'd like to show a video, so you're in for a bit of a treat, that John was able to work with a videographer to show the current conditions of the 3 fire stations that are being discussed for renovation, stations 140, 340, and 440. And then after the video plays, I'd like at least to give the chief maybe a few minutes just to, touch on any highlights or anything. And we talked about this a little beforehand, but just anything that council should know about tonight as you're setting the public hearing. But we'll obviously get into the bulk of the materials and everything at the actual public hearing in 2 weeks. So what I'm going to do now is I'd like to share my screen. I tested this out earlier today, so hopefully you're all going to be able to hear the video, but if not, please know that it is available on the town website. So firstly, I'm going to share my screen right now, and then I'm going to full screen this, and I'm going to stop talking because this actually plays through my speakers. So everybody, please enjoy the next 3 minutes here.
Mike, we can't hear anything.
Oh, I'm getting word that you can't hear it. Is that true?
Correct. We cannot hear it.
Oh, all right. I did test this out earlier and I don't know why you can't hear it, unfortunately. Well, let me just do this then. I'm gonna, sorry about that. I wanted to show the video. Was the video playing at least? Did you
The
see the
video's
video?
playing, yes. We just
All
can't
right.
hear anything.
I'm sorry. Well, I did test it out. Let me just show you where it is out there for everybody. So let me turn this off here. Sorry. Let me close that. All right. One more time. So everybody, on the town's website, on the left-hand side of the front page, there's a Firehouse Capital Improvement Project bar. If you click that, you'll see there's a landing page for information about the project. And this video is down here. If you click this video, it brings you to a link that you can watch it on your own time. But it's only 3 minutes long, and it's certainly worth your while. It shows, maybe you saw some of the pictures without the sound, but it shows the conditions, and it's a good it's a good piece of information for everybody to consider as we move towards referendum. So I'll see if I can maybe figure it out for the next meeting. But in the meantime, if everybody wants to take a quick 3-minute look at the video, John and the videographer did a great job on it. So thank you for that. That's all I had to sort of preface this conversation. I don't know, John, is there anything quickly you just want to add about the project? I don't know if the chief, oh, there he is. Yes.
So no, it was something that we felt, the slides were out there. Obviously, with the COVID times, some people might feel uncomfortable coming to visit the firehouses or see the firehouses. We felt the video would give a bird's eye view, a live view as a walkthrough. Obviously, restrictions are starting to lessen, and obviously the weather is getting better. So we'll probably try to open up the firehouses for obviously for people if they want to stop by. Anybody's more than welcome at any of the firehouses. They're the towns, they're the community's firehouses. Obviously we'd like to have staff there. We get nervous at nighttime with people parking at the firehouses or anything else wise, because there have been thefts across the state. So we do keep an eye closely on our firehouses, but obviously we want people to see it. I will give the council a heads up that I am going on the record tonight. I had nothing to do with this, but there's a reporter that's in town tonight that is taking photos because she saw the video or something else. So she's in town tonight. I did not call her. I think she might have reached out through somebody else through town admin wise. And we have someone that's walking around the firehouse with her. So there's going to be, they want to do a video clip and I like to share the wealth, so I've assigned Deputy Chief Dojan to catch up with her to make sure that the same message is obviously the consistent with what we've been telling the town. So everybody's on the same page. But obviously it's a hard time, and there's no good time. And I feel bad being obviously a taxpayer as well. Obviously a lot of you saw Gary Latrick on the video before, and he's been in town as long as I've been, if not, longer. But, it's something that we want to make sure that, a lot of these firehouses were built in a pre-amp time. I did give the town manager a PowerPoint this afternoon of some of the apparatus that used to be at the firehouses in 1970, 1980. So, we'd love to share that. It's nothing we're doing maliciously behind the scenes, but, the times have changed from 20, 30, 40 years. And, obviously we invite people, we encourage it. There's nothing better, like we said in the video and other things, that when we start these projects, we would like to involve the community. We would like to take some ideas and some suggestions, whether it's be planting, bushings, landscaping, or, even outside design wise. We want these firehouses to fit right back into the community. I've heard some concerns about a steel or Morton type of buildings that we're trying to look at, but you can make them look very unique and very design friendly. It would be nice to build a brand new brick and mortar or brick and building, but we need the wide space internally. As you see the videos, take a look at internally. You lose a lot of space with the walls and the different aspects. And what we need is a usable space, because like what we've just proven over the COVID times, we're using a lot of Station 140, which we have been very fortunate with the weather, but we have mandates that we need to keep up on training. And, the deputy chief and my officers in both career and volunteer staff, as well as the training division, has done a phenomenal job to try to keep up the staff, to keep their EMS or fire credits up. And when we do that, we're using Station 140 and all the apparatus is pulled out. And we can only do that for so long with the frigid temperatures, because they'll freeze, and whether it be medical or water, it needs to be kept at a certain temperature. So, like I said, I encourage the residents to stop by, whether it's during the daytime, and say, hey, I want to check out the firehouse, or I want to take a walk through, see it for themselves. And other than that, I know there's been some concerns of the community as far as if one or two of the stations are a storage or not used as much. You have to keep in mind, we only have a certain number of career staff during the daytime. And to try to save the taxpayers dollars, instead of shuffling people around from time to time, the ambulances run nonstop. So if you were to position a member at Plains Road or Garing Road, you would be having them go back and forth like a ping pong back to the main firehouse to cover the main firehouse. The two main firehouses in this community are Station 240, located at 3 Roads Road. That started off as a 2-bay firehouse and many additions. And the other main firehouse is 64 Crystal Lake Road. And that's where the two main firehouses are. And that's where the ambulances are running nonstop, as well as a rescue. So the other firehouses have fire apparatus for fire suppression, as well as response to the Interstate 84 or the other sections of town. A lot of people forget Tolland is over 41 square miles, and it takes a long time to get from one side of the town to the next. I can tell you that our membership goes up and down, and we have a lot of members that come and go. And right now we have some pretty solid members up towards the Buff Cap, Plains Road, Old Stafford area. So that apparatus does respond. We are short one apparatus. As you, as a council approved, we have a fire truck that is out for refurb right now. It's a 2000 fire apparatus, Pierce Manufacturing 1,000-gallon engine tank, and that was slated to get replaced. We bought that truck at $380,000. If we replaced it, it would have been $685,000, if not $700,000. We refurbed it because it was worth saving. That fire truck's coming back. So one of the bays with the videos, you're missing a fire truck in town. Now, where did all that equipment go? In between fire apparatus or behind the fire trucks at the other firehouses. So you will see a lot of stuff as you see in the video. So there's a lot of storage that we don't have. And we just added the storage garages at Station 140 and the training center. And if you'd be more than willing, I will open the doors up and come down and look at the one at the training center. because unfortunately it's already stuffed full. So, we're trying to make do with what we have and trying to be very cost effective. So I encourage anybody to stop down, take a look at it. And as we go forth, it's going to be a project no different than any school building or municipal building. The dollar value is there, and we need to go after the biggest station first. We don't know what we'll be dealing with the Carmeling Foundation or anything else, and we have to look at the projects as a whole. And a lot of residents have asked about Station 240 of the Trading Center. That's on commercial property. There was a study that was already done on that. We'll address that if it comes back up on commercial property down the road, but that was addressed years ago as well. So unfortunately, we're starting with this, and also we have a very large capital assets that a lot of the older equipment is coming up as aging as well as for replacement. So we're doing the best we can. We've written several grants. Unfortunately, Tolland is a very nice town to live in, is a great town to live in, but we're under the numbers as far as us getting firefighter assistance grants, and that's through the FEMA and the other organizations like a lot of other towns do. We can't write for a grant for a firehouse or a fire apparatus. We don't have the number of population, the call volume, or anything else as some of the other less fortunate towns or places that get a fire truck or get. We wrote for our air pack grant for almost 5 years. The air packs were $480,000. We did get the air pack grant 18 years ago, but we tried again. We were very less fortunate. We had to replace those air packs, which came out of the ambulance reserve funds, which really wasn't a capital asset or cost us anything. But we've tried to write grants every single year for whatever we can get, and we keep trying. So we'll keep doing everything we can and try to work with the community the best we can. And we've been very fortunate, very blessed to have a very strong community and supportive community. And I'm very fortunate to have a great staff that work with me to allow me to keep continuing and doing what we can. So I'm here. Any questions?
Thank you, John. So tonight, guys, we're setting the public hearing, and I think it's probably wise to go through any questions that we have during the public hearing with the public there. So unless you have anything high level, I think, Steve.
I was just going to, again, I think echo thanking all the staff, volunteers that are here. Chief might throttle me for asking this, but I would appreciate if any members, volunteers, retired or active staff, if they're willing to send in any correspondence or speak at the public hearing about your experience and what you see on a regular basis inside those stations. I know we did a tour last year, and it's probably stayed about the same or deteriorated even further since we did those tours last year, but I think hearing from people that are there on a regular basis is beneficial for us to know as well as the public. So just want to extend that invitation in terms of once we officially set the public hearing that, you're the public and we want to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. I will have to say though, John, I often wonder when we have anything fire department on the record here, we get all of the people with the TFD before. Are you buying people chocolate? Like, I don't understand how you're getting all your people here all the time. It's great. But I see your face. You're buying chocolate, aren't you?
If I can speak freely, if the town manager or you as a council do not mind me sending a message to my staff, I will have them communicate. I've never played politics or back and forth behind the scenes, but if you'd like, most of my staff has always communicated through me to get a message out there. But if you'd like them to speak freely, I can have them send emails. And, just keep in mind, some of the conditions in the firehouses I've been asking for. So it's nothing against me as management or anything else, that my hands have been tied. So are there conditions that should not be happening? Absolutely. But I've been doing everything I can. But like I said, the only reason you're seeing TFD is because obviously we're in Zoom. And I want people to recognize that there's a lot of people that are supporting this, and this is just not me speaking on my own. So I just, like I said, if you guys are okay with it, I don't have a problem with them speaking, and they don't probably have a problem with them speaking either. I just want to make sure it's, done professionally and adequate. So, like I said, we've always tried to play very well in the sandbox, and that's what we're trying to do with the TFD, with the Zoom. I just thought it'd be fair to you guys to be representative to know that there's a lot of members that are here versus how many people are really on here and what's going on. I think they, they're all on the same page with me.
Oh, no, I love it. I think, like I said, it's like bingo. I'm looking at my card here. It's like, can I get a bingo across the aisle here with all the TFDs? I'm not sure. I can talk to Mike offline, but I would think, this is my feeling on all of these things. If you are an employee of the town, you're a resident of the town before you're an employee of the town. So as a resident, everybody has an equal opportunity to weigh in on these things. So that's just my thinking on it. You're a resident before you're an employee. So Rob, I see your hand is up. Do you want to weigh in on something here?
Oh, you're muted still.
Can you hear me?
I
Yes.
can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I can't, impress how important that video is. It really shows the details of what John is trying to express. If we can potentially try to run it again, it would be beneficial. Otherwise, I don't know how else to express the importance of what's required here in these firehouses. They really are in trouble, and we need all the help we can get.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We seem to be having technical difficulties. I can try. Let me see if Mike,
So
it's
the
not
problem is when you play the video, you're using your speaker. So you have to somehow tell it to play through your speaker to everyone else out there. I tried it this morning with my iPad, but now I'm on my laptop, so it didn't work.
So let me just check.
We can, but it makes more sense maybe to show it at the next meeting since we're only setting the public hearing tonight.
Yeah, we can definitely at the next meeting. We can have it scrolled up so we can figure it out between now and then to get it up for the public hearing, because that is the more important meeting. All we're doing tonight is setting the public hearing. So
Correct.
so that gives us time to get the technology working.
Mm-hmm.
All right, does anybody else have any other questions before we go vote to set the public hearing? Not seeing any. Steve?
All right, yeah, Steve Jones, I would make a motion that the following resolution be introduced and set down for public hearing remotely on March 23rd, 2021 at 7 p.m. Be it resolved by the Tolland Town Council that hereby approves as follows. Resolution authorizing an appropriation of $5 million for the firehouse improvement project and the financing of said appropriation by the issuance of general obligation bonds of the town, and notes in anticipation of such bonds in an amount not to exceed $5 million, or so much as they may be necessary after deducting grants, therefore, as well as establishing a date for a referendum.
This is Kurt Schner. I'll second that motion.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor? Brenda?
Aye.
Cassandra?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Lou?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
I'm an aye, so that passes unanimous. The public hearing will be set for March 23rd, 2021. 8.3, appointments to vacancies on various municipal boards or commissions.
I think we only had one resignation letter from Megan Carpenter from the Water Commission this month. So, but the other thing I just wanted to mention is that the new mental health task force is going to have their first meeting the March 29th. It's the last Monday in March.
Okay, that's going to be their first meeting, or is that going to be the joint meeting with us?
I believe the request was for a joint meeting.
Joint meeting, right? So did you send that out to everybody?
I believe Lynn did from my office,
Okay.
yes. Yep.
Perfect. Everybody should have that. So Monday, the 29th, make sure you put it on your calendars. I'm looking forward to that one. Lou.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just with regard to some of the vacancies that Mr. Jones and I have received a few emails regarding interest in some of the open vacancies, which that we just need to follow up on, and that we may have more positions to fill at the next meeting.
Good. Thank you. Thank Megan for her service, and thank anybody else who would like to step up and be part of any of the committees that we have on town. And that gets us to old business. 9.1, consideration and approval of a resolution pertaining to a statement against racism by the Tolland Town Council. I need to get down to that.
By the way, I just want to let you know, I looked up that Lynn sent that email out on February 25th about the March 29th meeting.
Okay, so everybody should have that one then.
Okay. So,
All right.
hi, everybody. I can get us started. So, Mike Rosen, Town Manager. So this agenda item, if you remember at the last meeting on, well, actually, we began discussing this on January 26th, but it's had a couple of iterations over a few meetings. And at the last meeting, council spent a good amount of time going through a draft that had been proposed and sort of compiled. And we wordsmithed it. At the end of the meeting, I read it aloud, the edited version, which is exactly what shows up in your packet tonight on page 53 of 72. If you'd like, I could share my screen to show it to everybody again, if that makes sense.
Sure. There we go. Do you want me to read it again?
It's up to you. I mean, I read it last time. It's exactly the same well, it's exactly the same as I read it last time.
So the only thing that I had on here that I thought we should change is changing municipal government to maybe like municipal agencies or something. Because the more I thought about it, the safeguard employment and denying services and all of that is part of the agencies here. And you guys aren't the government. Government is the elected officials. So that's the only thing that I started kicking around. We got an email regarding the municipal government piece, and it got me thinking that that should probably be something like municipal organization or municipal agencies. But that's all that I had in terms of changes. And I just wanted to say too, you know, we are cognizant of the fact that this is our statement as elected officials. And that's the purpose of this, is our statement. So Lou.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To sort of echo what you had just brought up, that based upon that the email that we received, I think having it ensure our municipal departments. I think that's something that, because our offices, our municipal agencies are broken down to departments, and I think that's how we refer to them. So I think that would, just keeping uniformity, that should be the best way to do it, to ensure our municipal departments. So it fits the structure of how we have things right now. Thank you.
Thank you. I would agree, because the only person that we have, the only people that have the ability to hire from any elected position is us, and that's the town manager and the Board of Ed, which is the superintendent. So I would agree with that. Brenda?
Just a point on that. That would mean that only departments and not boards and commissions our town council would not be included in that. Where I'm looking specifically at the section that says services are not denied based on race. If we're limiting it to just the departments, then the town council isn't covered under that umbrella. I was going to suggest, but I exactly see where Mr. Lube was going with that, and I understand it. I just want to make sure that it encompasses everything. I was going to suggest that ensure that the town of Tolland has policies and practices in place. But yeah.
I'm not against that. Like, I think that you're right. I think that encompasses the town of, well,
it's hard on the wording, right?
it is like, and I'm just being particularly persnickety about the, you know, the policies in place that safeguard employment and services are not denied. So I was just going with like agencies, because they're the people who actually provide the services, and, you know, Mike or Dr. Willett are the ones who actually hire people, and they're municipal employees. So I don't know, what does everybody think about town of Tolland? I'm sure the town of Tolland has policies, or municipal, what'd you say, Lou? Departments, municipal departments?
Yes, Madam Chair, it was municipal departments. And while I understand what Ms. Felucci is saying, that I think that again, then ensure the town of Tolland, we are not speaking on behalf of the town of Tolland. We are speaking on behalf of the government and the departments that we supervise. And so that's why I think that keeping it clean, because we've heard that from other residents, that they do not want that as part of the town of Tolland. So I think that ensuring that our municipal departments, I think effectively covers the issues, because again, it's the departments that provide the services we as the legislative and elected representatives, we don't provide services. That we're not those ones. So I think that the municipal departments are the ones that provide the services and safeguard employment. And so I think that's how it should be addressed. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Lou. Steve?
Yeah, I was just going to recommend, I don't mind municipal departments, but I was going to say municipal offices. I know for some reason I feel like that flows a little bit better in that sentence than municipal departments. But that's just
Offices.
offering a friendly alternative.
We're like coming up with different, the same thing. I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's sort of, I think it was similar to our language when we established, I think the task force on mental health and substance issues. We kind of went back and forth for quite some time on certain words and trying to duplicate them and throughout an entire document. So
yeah,
it's a little bit of workshopping.
Yeah. Okay. Kurt?
Yeah, I'm just gonna, I'm fine with either municipal departments or offices. Maybe a little bit leaning towards departments. I agree that with Lou's understanding of this, that the town council does not render services or hire people. So that would be directed specifically at the groups we oversee. So.
Thank you. John?
I think I agree with the word departments. I think for our purposes here that sort of is an umbrella term that covers everybody. So I would, although I'm not too opposed to offices either. To me, it just makes more sense to say departments. So I would go that way with it. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes.
Oh, no, I'm John, anything else?
Oh, sorry.
Nope, that's it for now.
Okay. Brenda?
The town council does hire people. We hire Mike Rosen.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to limit it to just, that's the only person that we hire, the only person that we have say in.
Do we want to hold ourselves to the same standards that we hold our departments?
So do we want to go around and beat it up a little bit more or pick? Does anybody, all right, we'll do a straw man, I guess, straw poll on municipal departments. Who is in favor of that? I'm not taking notes on this. I'm sure Lisa is. Hold on. Straw poll. Municipal departments. Brenda.
No, because we create policy and we hire people as the town council.
Okay, Cassandra.
I'm okay with it, with the change in that we talked about with John had brought up there too.
So municipal department you're good with?
Yep.
Okay, Steve.
I'm going to be honest, I'm fine with either. I can see how both sides have valid arguments about us being policymakers as well as trying to direct ourselves in terms of having a statement that reinforces that our departments have policies and practices in place. But so I'm kind of split. I feel like either way it should hopefully be reverberated in the community that we act in a way that is denouncing racism as well as and promoting policies that don't discriminate as well as our staff.
I'll let you be yes on both. You can be yes on both. John.
I'm fine with it, department.
Lou.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm fine with department, and just to address sort of the issues that were brought up, I think that both the issues brought up by Ms. Falusi and Mr. Jones could be covered by the first bullet, which is evaluate the policies we implement and update to ensure they guard against racial bias. So I think that sufficiently covers that issue. But I'm in support of municipal departments. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Town of Tolland. Brenda?
Do I guess stay in this meeting?
Oh, no, Kurt. You get no say. What? Yes, Kurt. Sorry.
I am good with municipal departments.
Municipal departments. Okay. Town of Tolland. Brenda.
I'd rather have town of Tolland, yes.
Okay, Cassandra?
I'm good with either. I think they're fine, but
Okay, Steve?
I'm fine with Town of Tolland.
Okay. Let's see. Steve, John,
So just to clarify, where are we putting the town of Tolland now, instead of
instead
municipal?
of municipal departments,
Okay.
it would be,
I'd like to just stick with municipal departments.
okay. Lou,
No,
Kurt?
No.
Okay, that's 3 and 3. That means I'm the tiebreaker on that. I like municipal departments better because I think they do the overall hiring and it's more important that I think this piece here should be more focused in on the municipal area rather than all of us. Because I think we do address it in above. So I guess then we will go with municipal departments by straw poll. Anything else anybody have on it? Brenda?
Yes, thank you. I just thought that maybe we should add part of a statement at the very beginning that maybe as elected representatives of the town of Tolland, we recognize and we value the diversity in our community. Let's start off with a positive statement.
So as elected representatives of the town of Tolland, we value the diversity of our community
Yeah.
and we condemn racism, bigotry, and discrimination in any form.
Yeah, you can either use it as an and, or we can separate it into two different
Two
sentences.
sentences, yeah, okay.
I'm flexible on either, but I like starting off with recognizing that there's diversity in our community and that the diversity in our community brings us strength.
Okay. I'm good with that. Do we want to go? Okay, we'll go around again and see. Does anybody, Kurt, your hand is up. Sorry. I wasn't looking at the screen. I'm taking notes.
No problem. No, I certainly appreciate the sentiment Ms. Pelosi has with using the term diversity, but we talked about this. We've been told numerous times that this is a statement on racism. It has to do exclusively with the issues of racism, and diversity applies to much more than just the color of somebody's skin. There's all kinds of different diversity, whether intellectual differences, disability, anything, right? So I like to keep it focused specifically on racism.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? No? All right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna vote on this one, straw poll
I'm sorry,
also.
can I just add to that?
Oh, yep, go ahead, Brenda. Sorry, I didn't see you. You popped your hand up after I
That's
looked.
okay. We mentioned diversity 2 other times in this statement. And there is a lot of research that shows the intersectionality when you talk about race and ageism, sexism, classism, etc. So that's why I was bringing up the diversity. When you just talk about race, it's only one level. But when you add the intersectionality of race and all those other segments of our labels that we've created in our society, it adds to the conversation. So, and again, I wanted somewhere in here to say that we, celebrate and recognize the diversity in our community. We did that with the declaration for recognizing February as Black History Month. So I just thought it should be something that we recognize here too.
We do say it in the paragraph, the big paragraph that we have. We say we encourage the respectful exchange of ideas from all of our members in our community with the goal of helping all residents of Tolland understand that they belong to a welcoming community that values diversity and rejects racism, bigotry, and discrimination.
So maybe just moving that paragraph up.
You're writing a paper. I see what you're doing. Say it in the beginning, say it in the middle, say it in the end. All right, so anybody else have anything on that? Lou's hand is up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no real issue with that. I mean, I think it's something that we could just, not to belabor this because we've already gone through this and really have worked on this. I think that would be acceptable if we wanted to make that same statement up top as well. I just think that last time we had a lot of these things added in originally, and then we eliminated them. And now we're looking at adding some of these things back in about where we were talking about diversity, we were talking about prejudice, we were talking about a bunch of other different things. And then people asked to have them removed. And now we're being asked to have them added back in. I'm just, so it's, I'm just sort of struggling with that issue, because then we should have just kept the original statement. But that being said, I think that this is something that I would have no objection if we add that part in the very first paragraph after the town of Tolland. That we are a
Value the diversity of our community.
Yes, thank you.
You're very welcome. I wrote it down. Okay, does anybody else have anything they want to say before I do a straw poll?
Just for the record, can you read back the proposed amendment then? Is it as
The
elected?
proposed amendment would be, Mike, it's in the first paragraph. It would be, as elected representatives of the town of Tolland, we value the diversity of our community, period. And then the rest of it would stay the same.
The diversity of our community or in our community?
It was proposed as of our community.
Okay.
I don't see anything from anybody else. So straw poll, how do we feel about adding that? Brenda,
Yes.
Cassandra,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Lou,
Yes.
Kurt.
No.
Okay. I am a yes. So we can add that statement.
Very good. So if this, as amended, well, if you're ready to move this tonight, we would just put in the resolution as amended tonight. So that way the final version is what's reflected in the record.
I'm good. Any other discussion from anybody else? No? All right, then Steve?
All right, actually, so sorry, I meant to raise my hand up making a comment, because I may have missed the beginning of the conversation. Did we go around and ask about whether or not we were incorporating anti-racist into it? Because I don't know if that was an edit or not, so.
No, it was not added as an edit.
Okay. I just wanted to make it just known to respond to Annalise, because I did get the email and just didn't have time to respond, that I would have been fine with it being incorporated into the statement in some fashion, so. But I'm fine with it as it is, that we're doing something, so. With that being said, I didn't make a motion that we approve the statement as amended for Mike to finalize.
Okay.
Lulu, I'll second it.
All right. Any discussion? Mike, I think you could probably take that off your screen now. Okay. All those in favor? Brenda?
Aye.
Cassandra?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Lou?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
I am an aye, so that passes unanimously. Thank you all for your work on that. Let's see, that gets us now to 10, report of the town manager.
Okay, hi, everybody.
First meeting of the month, Mike, it's all you.
Yes. Well, I don't have too much because I've been pretty involved with budgets. So that's been the bulk of the meetings I've had recently in-house. But just to advertise that we are, we did put out there the manager's recommended budget went live a few days ago. Tomorrow night, we have the overview of the budget, as well as a couple of department presentations that are going to be done over Zoom. The following night, Thursday at 7 o'clock, we have the same thing again. Tomorrow is Public Works and a couple other departments. Thursday is Public Safety, Law Enforcement, and I think Human Services, Community Planning. And then Tuesday, I'm just doing this from memory, the agendas are out there. And then Tuesday is Land Use, Board of Ed, and solid waste. So all those agendas, the way we usually do these meetings are that I'll present an overview slideshow that kind of talks about what's going on in each department. There isn't a lot, as I saw, I was quoted in the Journal Inquirer as saying no frills here, which was interesting. There isn't a lot. It's mostly contractual wage increases, utilities, things of that nature. I did go forward with one new position, but I don't mean to get into the budget tonight. This is, you'll see tomorrow. But so we have several budget meetings, and the culmination of that, March 17th, there's the public hearing where members of the public, the council, any questions you may have or any questions anybody has on the budget, please feel free to attend the public hearing and voice your support of the or non-support of the budget. And the following step after that is council will consider everything they've heard at the public hearing and come together on the 24th and finalize the budget for movement towards the referendum in May. And again, at this point, all systems show that we're going to be having a referendum on May 4th. So I haven't heard anything contrary to that. What I haven't heard yet, I know this was brought up on the last meeting, is if the state is going to allow no excuse absentee balloting. I have had a conversation with Deputy General Counsel to the governor on the item. I gave him sort of a time frame with Kathy Pagan, who was here earlier, about what the town clerk's office would require timeline wise to make no excuse absentee balloting work properly without being a rush job. And we walked him backwards and we said, if you mid-March would be great. That gives the time for us to put the word out, people to apply. You got to send them the ballot. They got to send it back or put it in the box. There's several steps to it. And with a drop dead date of April 1st, pretty much any time after April 1st, if there's an indication that absentee balloting will be allowed, it'll be very rushed. And we made that point clear to the Deputy General Counsel that we don't want to do this improperly. We want to make sure that people have the ability to vote safely and get their voice heard. So more to come on that, but I haven't heard the outcome of that yet. We're still eagerly listening to the governor's press conferences and the municipal calls to see if there's any movement on that. Hopefully they'll make a decision either way within the next week or two. And then just on the hiring front, a couple of announcements to make. First is we're pleased to announce Mr. David Corcoran for the position of Director of Planning and Community Development. What's become a 6-month search for the new planning director is finally over. David has accepted our offer and is moving actually from Boise, Idaho, believe it or not. He's coming all the way from out west to be Tolland's next town planner, and he'll be starting on March 29th. We're very excited to have David. He actually stopped by a week ago. He drove cross country.
Wow.
And then he had to fly back and drive his second car cross country. So
that's a smart man.
Yeah, so he stopped in, he met with Mike and I, we talked for a bit, and we're very excited to have David join the team. The other two things, one is that we're interviewing for town clerk next week. So, Sheila's been gone for a little while now in Enfield, although I know she and Kathy still keep in touch, so that's great. We wish Sheila well. And also Adrian Ernest was selected as the town manager's executive assistant. Also will be starting on March 29th, the same day as David. So we're excited to be getting closer to full staff. And we certainly could use the help. Everyone's kind of wearing multiple hats, as we all do. So it's good to have more people on board and spread out the work a little bit. So that's what I have for my updates. I mean, very budget focused the last few weeks and few months. And we're hoping to see the light at the end of the tunnel and referendum coming up in a month or two. Thank you.
So thank you, Mike. I can tell you as of right now, the GAE has not moved the absentee ballots to the calendar yet. So we're in session next, I think Tuesday or Wednesday, we're in session. And this is not on the calendar so far. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It will get, I don't know that.
So you'll probably get it.
Pardon me?
GAE is meeting tomorrow about this, so you'll probably get it afterwards or find out.
Yeah, they have to draft it for language and then vote it out of the, they have to joint favorable out of the committee in order for it to even hit the calendar. So it's not on there yet, but if I see it come through, I will let you know. All right, That
Thank
gets
you,
us
but
to.
thank you both.
Anybody
by
have
the
any
way, for the
questions for
information.
Mike on his manager's report? Yeah, you kind of stole my thunder there again a little bit, but it's all right. I got more detail than you. All right, so that gets us to 11, adoption of minutes.
Yep.
Sorry about that. Just pulling up the meeting packet for that. Computer crashed for a moment, so it's been a night of tech issues. So Steve Jones, I'd make a motion to adopt the joint budget meeting minutes as outlined in 11.1 and the remote regular meeting minutes as outlined in 11.2.
This is Kurt Schneider. I'll second that motion.
The only thing that I have, I don't know how this works, Mike, is we had a resident write in and say that she was not coded correctly in the minutes. So I don't know if we would amend for that.
So I remember at the last meeting, I had done some homework on when it's appropriate to amend meeting minutes. And I don't have my notes in front of me, but my recollection is that if there's a misquote that the clerk had just miswritten down or unfortunately didn't get 100%, we can amend it if that's what actually happened. And
Right.
I didn't watch the tape back. I don't know if anybody had the ability to do so, but I'll take her at the word that
I
it's
remember
true.
the conversation.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
the residents of, I remember her testimony.
Yep.
And what she said in the email is accurate. She
Okay.
said that this was something that happened to her son, that a girl in town whose father was an officer. So we have the wording in the email, I believe, that was sent. So I don't know if we should vote to accept them with the amendment as noted in the email. We can send that over to Lisa.
That would be appropriate.
Okay, Steve, do you want to change that?
Yeah, so I'll withdraw my motion and I'll make a new motion to adopt the minutes as laid out in 11.1 and as amended in 11.2.
Right, and we'll make sure we get that email over to Lisa.
This is Kurt Schneider. I'll second that motion too.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor, Brenda,
Aye.
Cassandra,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
John,
I,
Lou,
Aye.
Kurt.
Aye.
I'm an aye, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. 12, correspondence to council.
Yes, this is Brenda Felucci. So emails that we received an email from a resident concerning our policy reviews, specifically how social media policy should apply to the town council. And also on racism, our statement on racism, how will that lead to policy reviews? We received an email from a resident about attrition in the town and about the town council being in partnership with the Board of Ed, working for an excellent school system and how we should be investing in our future. We received some information from a resident about solar versus agriculture. It was an attachment to the email for us to review. We received an email from a resident in support for the Board of Ed budget and feels that not properly funding the Board of Ed budget will lead to increases in our taxes in the future. Received an email from another resident about anti-racism and noting that the minutes were misrepresenting what she said, which we just talked about. We received an email from a resident that felt that a council member was was discounting the abilities of our elected officials, wanted bigotry included in the statement, and feels that our white town council is capable of reflecting and denouncing racism. We received an email from another resident that doesn't feel the race of the council is important to be able to fully represent the needs of the town. And qualification is that we are elected, and rejects bringing in sustainable CT for help. And then we received an email about declaring racism as a public health emergency and feels that we should proceed with supporting that document. And that was everything that I received.
Thank you. Okay, then gets to
Madam Chair, if
13.
I may inquire,
Oh, yes.
Just because with Ms. Falusi, she was mentioned about the healthcare emergency one, where I don't know if that went out to the town council in general or not. I know I never received an email like that, so I don't know if that's something that just came out, but I just checked my email and I have not received something like that. I'm just inquiring as far as when it came in.
I would have to go back and check. I don't write down the dates or the names of the residents.
Okay.
So that's something I'd have to go back and check. So we can strike that and I could always include it on the next one.
Okay. I mean, not trying to make an issue, but I was worried that I missed something, and I want to make sure that I was able to get it. Thank you.
I checked too when the resident said that, and I don't have it either. So we can check on it. All right. Chairperson's report. So Mike stole most of my thunder here. I was going to mention on the budget meeting. So tomorrow we have Public Works. I'm going to give him exactly what's there though, Mike. See, because I wrote that part down. Tomorrow we have Public Works, Finance, General Government. Thursday we have Community Services, Law Enforcement, and Public Safety. Next Tuesday we have the Board of Ed, Planning and Community Development, and Solid Waste. On the 17th, which we really need to rethink this one, it is St. Patrick's Day, and we have Mike's budget presentation. So the Irish girl on town council is going to sit here and patiently wait to eat her corned beef until after Mike's presentation. And then on the 23rd, we finalize the budget. So just to kind of give everybody a high level rundown again, we go over every single department. We go over the whole budget. We look at the whole thing. I probably ask a lot more questions than Lisa. Lisa's probably already dreading. I see her sitting there looking at me like, you know, there's little evil lasers coming out of her eyes. But and look at, see John shaking his head. So they all know, like, this is our opportunity to understand the budget. It is incumbent upon us as elected officials to understand what is put before us, so we can make a decision that is the best impact for the entire town. So we ask a lot of questions, and we're going to continue to ask a lot of questions. And I would highly expect or encourage anybody in the public to come to those meetings to learn and understand what is in the budget before them. So when it comes out for you to vote on in May, you are an educated electoral voter here. An educated electorate is the best electorate. So I encourage you guys to look at the budget. It's online, and come up with some questions. If you have questions specifically that you'd like us to ask, please send them in. Otherwise, I'm going to sit here with my, I don't know, I think I got about 2 pages, Mike, of questions. So I'll be sending those. Don't you make that face, John. I will be, everybody will be asking their questions then. I encourage you all to be part of that process. I didn't have anything else on my chairperson's report right now. But Mike, like I said, I'll let you know if I hear anything from GAE. And that gets us to 14, communications and petitions from council persons. 14. Anybody have any petitions? Brenda.
Yes. First, I'd like to encourage us to start thinking ahead and getting ahead of the recycling issues that are going to be, that have been on the horizon for a while. There's not a market for recycling as there had been in previous years. And if we get ahead of the curve and start making some plans now, we can start saving some taxpayers' money down the line. One of the things is I had forwarded information on some composting programs to Mike Rosen to take a look at. By using composting and getting rid of food waste in composting, we are saving on our tipping fee, which is money that the taxpayers have to spend. And in some cases, up to 40% of people's solid waste is something that can be composted. I'm not saying we're going to get a 40% reduction in the cost of our solid waste program, but I think it's really something that we need to look into. And everything that I'm seeing from our conservation groups and from Sustainable CT and some other groups, this is something that we really should be getting ahead of. Again, it'll save money. It's the right thing to do for the environment. And then the second thing is Jody had wanted to have a liaison assigned for, is it the Tolland Green? I can't remember.
The historic committee?
Well, there's two that are very, very similar, and I'm
They
afraid
are.
I picked one of them wrong.
One's the Historic
Yeah.
District Commission, and one is the Tolland Historic Society, right?
I don't, yeah. Anyway, I think we should take a look at her request and see if we want to do a liaison. So,
Yeah, and thank you, Brenda, for sending me your list of items.
Unfortunately, that list wasn't exhaustive. There's actually even more items on there, but we're busy, so.
Okay, anybody else? Steve?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Trooper Eklund for sending over that data, and when it's more appropriate, I would like to request maybe a follow-up and have them do their presentation that they did last January, maybe in April or May, when we're kind of done with a lot of the budget meetings, invite them for the opportunity to do that presentation again with the updated data, and, you know, try and find ways to encourage residents to be involved and engaged with that. And then I believe, just to clarify, because I think I have the information up, it was the Historic District Commission, because I believe Jody's the chair. So I think that's the commission that they're looking to have a liaison for. And I think I sent a response saying if we need someone there, I'm willing to step up for that, but I didn't want to take that opportunity away from other counselors if someone else had an interest. So.
Well, I had asked Mike before because when she had asked that, I wasn't sure what the process was because we have liaisons that we already have established. So I wasn't sure if there was like a process that we had to go through. And I believe, Mike, please correct me if I'm wrong, there's not. So if we wanted to decide to do one, Mike, you're making a face.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because it's been a little while. I'd have to look back on the guidance I gave you. I don't remember, but I think there's nothing stopping council from creating a liaison position. I don't think there's any issue with that.
Yeah, I think when we looked into, we were concerned with like how, if there was any kind of charter implication because we have set liaisonships, but there's not as far as we could tell from the research in it. So we could just set it as an agenda item. And then, you know, obviously we're gonna need to have somebody take up on it. So if that's something you're interested in, Steve, you know, we can get that on an upcoming agenda. Just double check one more time, Mike, and make sure that there's nothing specific that we have to do. I think Sheila confirmed for us that there wasn't. But
yeah, I found the email. Sheila checked the ordinance establishing the HDC. It does not address the appointment of a liaison. The charter and code do not address the appointment of liaisons other than referencing liaisons and council's rules of procedure. So I think you're free to do that whenever you want.
all right, let's get that on the agenda and we'll set that up now that we have everything and we know for sure. And then
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna add that I think we don't technically have a formal liaison for the Library Foundation, even though they report to us, and I just kind of jumped in and took it on as an additional meeting. So
do they want one? Like, are they requesting a formal? I know you did step in and I thank you for it. You give us.
Yeah, I don't think they asked for one. They just offered. So I mean, just as a note for future councils, you know, unless we want to make that codified in our processes, but I just do it as a personal interest and just to provide updates as they provide their annual update to us.
Yeah. You just showed up. You just showed up.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Steve. I'm going to sit in on all your meetings.
Yeah, I have a history with them. So
I have also just one quick follow-up to this. So back when Sheila was here, this was from October, she said that council may wish to have a public hearing before voting to add a council liaison to HDC so that commission members could have input if they have any concerns, but nothing mandates we have to have a public hearing. You may just want to maybe put it as an agenda item, have HDC weigh in, or even just email their
I was going to say, can I reach out? Can I reach out and email them as a commission and ask them if they want to kind of weigh in, and if I don't know, we can figure that out. We'll email them or we'll ask them to come.
But you would do it by resolution. You would just vote to have a liaison.
Okay.
all right, and then just one other thing. Actually, you know, I think I just got an email from Councilor Felucci. I just wanted to clarify. I think we had augmented our schedule for BOE liaisons, and I think we're switched so that I'm covering March and they're covering August. So unless you'd rather stick with March, that's fine. Otherwise, I'm fine doing March.
You can have March. It's my birthday month.
Okay.
Yes. March was Steve.
Okay.
We switched that one up, and Brenda,
I
you're
missed
April.
that. I totally missed that. Thank you.
No
Yeah,
problem.
no worries. And then the final thing was just, I did send a number of my questions ahead of the board, budget meetings to Town Manager Rosen. I'm willing to summarize them. I felt like it was just more efficient if I had the questions right away to just send them rather than accidentally forget them or not write them down. So, I just encourage it in terms of the department heads having an idea of what's going to be asked. But I'm more than willing to reiterate those questions at the meeting that I provided. So, but I do encourage the public to attend, and it's a great opportunity to hear all those questions and get an understanding of the budget as we interpret it and disseminate or dissect it.
That's a really good point, Steve, and I think it's a point worth pointing out. 10 to 1, I was a grown up in the school of, if you have a question, you should always ask it, because 10 to 1, somebody else probably has that question too. So I don't mind though, Mike, if you want questions sent to you beforehand, as long as we do go over all of them in the public meeting, so everybody has the opportunity to hear and learn.
Yeah, and yes, and we're kind of running out of time just for the meetings that are happening this week. When I do receive these type of questions from individual counselors or even just if they come in mass, I'll compile them. I generally, reach out to the department heads that they pertain to. I say, what do you think? Or if it's something I can answer, I'll just do it. But yeah, I mean, it's up to, if council wants us to like walk through the questions tomorrow and Thursday, or if there's, we can do it however you would like. If you just want us to kind of go through them quickly since they've already been asked and answered, and then leave time for new organic questions that have come up since then, either way. But, obviously we have a lot of these meetings ahead of us. So however it's going to work efficiently.
Okay. I'll leave it up to everybody to decide if they want to send in their questions or not then. Anybody else? No? Perfect. Okay, that gets us to public listed participation on any subject within the jurisdiction of the town council with a 3-minute limit. If you're on a device and you'd like to raise your hand, you can raise your hand. When I call on you, please state your name and address for the record. If you're on a phone, it is *9. Sophia. And before you actually start, I just wanted to kind of let you know that we do not typically read emails into the record. So we do have a copy of it, and that will be saved with our emails, but we do not read it into the record. So if you have your email and you would like to read it, you can, or you can just take your 3 minutes and talk about what you want.
It's amazing to see how, everyone is diligent with the way that they're processing things. But I just wanted to draw attention to the fact that when mentioning racism, to say that, being privileged, being privileged isn't a race thing, it's more of a class thing. And to, pigeonhole, acts of racism and say that, it's Black people, racism comes in all different kinds of form, but it's not to say that, a person that is white and is privileged does not face racism, because, as a Black person and living in different various communities, I've heard the worst of things said about people of privilege that were white. And we don't want to pigeonhole the idea of racism to being something that is exclusive to people that have struggled, that people that have tried so hard. Right now, I don't think that I felt kind of like bothered, and I do apologize because I normally do not, express things like that. But with the beginning of the statement, to say that you are recognizing the diversity is kind of a negative connotation, to say that you're recognizing the differences in everyone, instead of saying the differences. Why don't we recognize the inclusiveness? We recognize that we are an inclusive community. I think that you've already, voted and, motioned and passed, but I'm just saying that diversity is a difference, where inclusivity is showing that we're together. And I believe that anything that I went to town hall today in an attempt to pick up a copy of the budget, and walking through the hall toward the town manager's office in HR, I noticed that the bulletin board there clearly shows the board meetings and the agenda, board meetings, and then it had about the discrimination policies. So just with that, and I don't want to, speak as the person of color that speaks on behalf of everyone, but I know that for me, I don't look to have too much sympathy to automatically assume that because I'm Black, that I face racism, that because I'm Black, that I'm being alienated, that I'm being, suffering implicit bias. That could be anyone. It could be Latino, it could be Asian, it could be anyone. So for a town to recognize and to put a statement out there, I would think that if it's something that happens and there's a an incident that is racist, or where I come from, New York, there was always anti-Semitism everywhere. There was always a problem, but the people in the positions of leadership spoke out against it at the time of. To do something preemptive is kind of suggesting that there's a problem. And for someone like me, I'm kind of alarmed because like I said, I've faced nothing but positivity and welcoming and inviting. So now I have to think about whether or not my kids will go to the school district and potentially, I don't like to perceive things preemptively as going to be a problem. I like to face those problems as they arise. That's one thing. Presidential proclamations, I believe that they are all encompassing. So for the town to repeat, like if the flags are half staff, I believe that everyone within the country, state and federal, lower their flags half staff. So I don't know if it's necessary for the town council to put out a proclamation for Black History Month, because the president, their proclamation is all encompassing. And finally, I'm excited. I love budgets. Just so you know, I love budgets. I think that they're the most amazing tool, and this will be my first looking at one that includes the school district. From whence I hail, they don't do that. So it's going to be very interesting to look. And the celebrations committee, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm going to be annoying you because my previous life, that's all I did. And right now I have 4 children that are having enough fun in my backyard. And I'm just like, imagine when we start to be able to go out and engage each other. So I'm looking forward to going to different, things that are permanent in the community. Memorial Day, if the public could be allowed to speak and share ideas, like there's so many different options. And I've lived in so many different places that I would like to be able to, even if publicly, to be able to come in, attend those meetings and then share ideas. But again, as a person of color, I although I can appreciate the sentiment to step out and say, well, we're here and we denounce it. It's kind of, for a person like me that hasn't experienced it, I'm wondering whether or not it's warranted to put out a statement when there hasn't been an overt, public display of racism in Tolland. I just think that it's a dangerous precedent to set, to be preemptive on something of this matter, whereas people of color may find it offensive. And not to say that I find it offensive, but it was the most uncomfortable thing to sit through, to hear the different opinions. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm in Tolland, I've been here for a month. I've interacted with many people. I have yet to see a Black person. So I'm not going to say that we're so diverse, but we're inclusive. We are inclusive. And I think that should be the highlight of any statement that goes out, is to say, instead of recognizing diversity, say that we recognize it inclusivity, or, something else other than diversity, or, it's just not the best word to go forward with recognizing that we all are one. America used to be the melting pot, but now we're focusing on how we're different. And I think that that's where someone may not have noticed that they were different. And I know for my children, I'm glad they didn't have to hear that, because I can say that my 14-year-old, he didn't even know that he was Black until he was 11, because I did not raise him to think that he was different because of the color of his skin. And it wasn't until Black History Month hit and he came to me and said, Mom, I'm Black. So, I understand the magnanimous, thing that you're doing, but whether or not it's necessary, I think that it's more important to address that type of concern when it happens, because again, I said virtue signaling is one of the things that can, like, again, create a preconceived notion that there's something to be wary of when there really isn't. So that's my piece, but I love everyone. I love it. I love being in Tolland. We love being in Tolland, and I look forward to engaging all of you at some point in time in the future. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Sophia. Annalise.
Hi, Annalise Sear, 34 Columbine Road. I mean, I just have to say that, I mean, the term diversity it's such an important term because we are diverse, right? We have similarities, but there are many differences between us, right? My family, I am a Irish French Canadian woman. My daughter is a, very Irish looking girl with red hair and light skin. And my son is biracial, half black, half white. Like we are a diverse family, and we're beautiful, and we should embrace that and acknowledge it. And until we embrace diversity in our world and realize the beauty of it, then I mean that's step one, really, right there. There is nothing. My son, he loves his Black heritage. He loves it, and I encourage him to hold, because he comes from, the history of being Black is so strong and powerful. And I mean, I want him always to really hold on to that side of him. So diversity is an important word, and it is something that we must continue to embrace. I want to thank, earlier in the meeting, Linda and Gary, long-term white residents, being aware and acknowledging and understanding of of racism in our community, and acknowledging that they didn't always witness it and didn't always realize it. It was really great to hear them say, like, I didn't know, but now I'm understanding. And so to hear these these people in our community validate what gone through in this community, and to support him and our family in fighting for for just to live in a welcoming and inclusive community, and it just they're just overall awareness. That's what I loved about hearing their statements earlier on. I also want to thank Brenda and Steve for recognizing that I had asked earlier in the meeting and through email about, I wanted responses from all members about the opposition to use anti-racism in this statement against racism. The only people I got responses from were Brenda and Steve, and I appreciate that. And they both agreed that they wanted it in the statement, and as I do, and many other members of the community do as well, that I know. So I hope that I will still get emails from the other council members as to their reasoning why they refused to use it in the statement. It really was very important. I also want to thank the woman earlier, Linda, for bringing up declaring racism as a public health crisis. That is something that I feel like we need to revisit. It was tabled, and it was not, there was not a discussion about it. It's very much similar to my question this evening of why we can't use anti-racism in our statement. So I hope that we can discuss that again, and I will continue to ask that. I hope that we can create have a session, a listening session, where we can discuss racism in this community, specifically with the town council, and more actionable items, and how we can target it. So I think that's all. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Annalise. Kenny?
Kenny Trice, 53 Doe Run. First of all, Sophie, hi, I'm Kenny Trice, and welcome to Tolland, and I'm Black, just like you. So therefore, you know two people, all right? First of all, the statement that you prepared, it's fine. It's not perfect. And I did tell you that it was going to be hard, as you probably found out. So for what you've done, I'm going to say it's fine. It's not perfect, but then again, historically, we've had something like 8 civil rights bills. So it takes time, so don't worry about that. So it's not perfect. If we asked 400 people, we would get 25 different views. So this is a start. And I once said to you that I'm not looking for you to give a summons to anybody. I'm not looking for you to arrest somebody because they did something that seemed to be racist. I'm not looking for you to do that. So what you're doing is at least the first step. Hey, listen, we're a diverse community. We have heard from some of our citizens and mainly our young folks that there are some issues. We'll have to take some steps to get there, and you don't have the answers, and that's okay. I've said that a million times, but amongst ourselves, we can probably take some looks at things. The world's not perfect. We're humans. We all have some issues, but this is a step. I applaud you for this step. Thank you for doing it, and we'll get better at this. We just need to now know that we need to recognize it, call it out for what it is, and that's what you as town leaders should do. And whether it's in the schools, and that's a different story, whether it's in the streets or wherever we meet people, just acknowledge it. And again, this is not about giving somebody a summons. This is not about, listen, we're going to call somebody on it. This is just about saying, as Annalise said, recognizing it, because it is here. Is it something that we need to, stop everything? No, just acknowledge it. We need to work on it. So again, I thank you for your efforts. It's the first step. And again, Sophie, welcome to Tolland. Thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing anybody else, that gets us to 16.
All right. Steve Jones, I make a motion to adjourn at 9:06 p.m.
Brenda Flucille, second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Brenda?
Aye.
Cassandra?
I. I'm saying thank you. I'm really tired. It's been a really long day. I'm sorry.
Steve?
Aye.
John? You gotta unmute yourself, John.
Sorry,
Lou?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
I'm an aye. It's unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Be well, be safe. See you tomorrow.